welcome to the Wolfeboro Exchange. Excited to have you here again today. I got Gunnar Found here. We're going to be talking to him very shortly about some new endeavors he's taken on in Wolfeboro here. Very excited for that. Before we get to that, we got some hot off the news stuff going on in Wolfeboro. Some meetings this week, but I'm going to start it off. You may have noticed of the little building project, or the start of the building project at 71 North Main Street. This was a single family residence that is at the corner of Main and Libby Street. It was recently torn down. It got a demolition permit a few months ago, and you might have seen the work going on there, and they were starting to excavate and get ready to pour a foundation. And then all of a sudden, the work came to a stop, and there was a stop work order issued from the Town of Wolfeboro. It's very interesting. It's the second property in a small square block of town that has had a stop work order issued in the last 6 months. So I want to give you a little bit of knowledge about this. I'm going to start off with a video from the March 19th Planning Board. It's a 3-minute clip. I'm sorry it's a little bit long, but it's going to give you a lot of context. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to discuss the ins and outs of how this project got stopped, some of the players, and where it's going from here. So here's the video.
So the purpose of zoning is to regulate the impact of uses on neighboring properties and manage the growth of a town. With regard to short-term rentals, zoning regulations identify acceptable parameters under which a transient residential use will have an anticipated and acceptable impact on the immediate neighboring community, as well as the overall impact on a town's commerce and housing needs. Let's take, for example, the recent teardown of 71 North Main Street on the corner of Libby Street and North Main Street. I think you're all probably familiar with the location. This location is the last property on North Main Street that lies in the C1 business district. The house was in poor shape, and from what I understand, was not a reasonable structure to renovate or rehab. Being in the C1 district, there are many appropriate uses that could be located on this parcel. That is why I was a bit surprised and very pleased to see the building permit approved on January 29th for a single-family dwelling with 5 bedrooms and 3.5 baths. What a great location for a family that can afford to purchase and build what is proposed to be a $1.5 million investment on that lot. With that in mind, I reviewed the building permit paperwork and plans. In my opinion, the design is attractive with what I'd call a modern farmhouse style that is largely consistent in scale to the other buildings along North Main Street. The parcel is tiny. The previous structure was most likely legally non-conforming or grandfathered, even given the current small setbacks to property lines of 5 feet for residential development. I was surprised, however, that the planning office did not require a survey of the property to either confirm the parcel boundaries or to formally pin the location of the legally non-conforming structure setbacks and encroachments. The computer drawings provided are rudimentary in nature, lacking conventional drafting techniques, which raises the question of whether the hand measuring to property lines is adequate to describe the grandfathering portions of the new design. The property lines are fudged in a couple of places to make it appear that the proposed building is no more non-conforming than the existing. It is not reasonable to approve a building permit with a site plan submitted that looks like that. Where is the survey? Why is the default burden placed on neighbors to defend against shoddy development practices? Isn't it part of the permitting process for the project to verify that they are complying? For the project to verify that they are complying, not the neighbors. I thought that was in fact the entire purpose of application for a building permit. The lack of administrative rigor is costly to both the neighborhood and the applicant, as poor review opens the door for appeals of those approvals, leading to rehearing requests and further appeals to higher courts for many months or even years. Looking in more detail at the drawings, the applicants themselves indicate that the expected occupant load for the single-family dwelling is between 16 and 20 people. 16 and 20 people. Now it becomes clear this is a structure to be used for short-term rentals with a master suite for 2 people, a family suite with 5 beds, and a queen bedroom for 2 people, and a 6-person bunk room on the 3rd floor.
So there's a lot of information that Audrey Klein, who is, to give you a little bit of knowledge, so we'll discuss who the person is speaking. That's Audrey Klein. She's speaking as a private citizen in this clip, but she happens to also be the chairwoman of the Zoning Board of Adjustment. She is the former building inspector, code enforcement officer for the town of Wolfeboro, and I believe she's currently a town building inspector for the town of Durham, New Hampshire. So she came before the planning board to talk about this building lot that has been demolished, and since building permit was issued by the town of Wolfeboro to build a single-family residence here on this current lot. So some of the issues, and I think it's important that when we dive into zoning and planning, the issues are very complicated, and it's sometimes a little bit of knowledge beforehand will give the viewers some more insight into what's actually being discussed here. So the applicant, last year purchased the property for $675,000. They then applied for a demolition permit, which is a permit you apply for at the planning office at the town hall. And about 6 months ago, just to bring you up to speed on that, we have a committee in town. It's a non-binding committee, but it's called the Heritage Commission. And the Heritage Commission asked the town planner about 6 months ago to make them aware of any buildings in town that were older in nature, that maybe someone approached and want to be torn down. So that was done. That happened. The Heritage Commission was informed about the potential for the tear down and demolition of the building months ago. So it was knowledge here in Wolfeboro amongst people in town government. They knew about it. So fast forward, demolition project happens. The building's removed from the property. Fast forward to a building permit being issued and granted by the town of Wolfeboro. Work starts. The hole is excavated. A security fence is installed around the property. It's a tight lot if you drive by it. The existing home was tight to the boundary lines. It's in the C1 business district, so there are no setbacks, or there's a 5-foot setback in that area. So you can literally build right up to the property lines in that zone. So in this clip, okay, and people are going to be, there's been a lot of chatter on the forums, and a lot of it's good information, and some of it is just chatter. It's to get people stirred up and emotional and overly worked up about a building project. These happen all the time in Wolfeboro. It just so happens that this is right in downtown Wolfeboro, right in front of everybody's faces, and you have people that have a vested interest in what's happening in town government. So, second building project in literally a square block that has been shut down in the last 6 months. Now, some will argue it's the town's responsibility, that they missed things like the survey and other items. Surveys, by and large, in a lot of cases, people don't need a survey to rebuild. So, that statement in this particular instance, it probably has the most credence of anything that was argued by Ms. Klein. Some of the other issues, okay? Remember, we still live in the Granite State, okay? And we all kind of really enjoy our land use rights. And, somebody came in here and they spent $675,000. They're going to build a single-family residence. It's going to probably cost them another $1 million to build it. So they're going to be into it for $1.5 to $1.75 million to construct this residence. There was a beautiful rendering a few weeks ago up at the fence there that the gentleman proposed to build, and all that information is available at Town Hall. It's so to get some other points that Ms. Klein kind of spoke about, and I think this is where you really got to dig into, what is the role of government, and what is the role of government when it comes to people's building rights. Okay, we have no ordinance in Wolfeboro when it comes to Airbnbs, and beside that, the information that was thrown out there, that this may be, there may be 16 people staying there. That's all hyperbole. It really has no impact upon the building process. Okay, what somebody uses that property for in that particular zone in a single family residence has no bearing at all whatsoever on the application or whether or not the building process is stopped. Okay, so everything beyond the potential for the actual the survey of the property and those type of things, that stuff is really should be left off the record, because it gets into an area where you have now you have a gentleman who came to town and purchased the property and is attempting to build this home, and you have people going out there and accusing him of things that we know nothing about. All we know is what's in the application. The application states single family residence. Okay, if he meets all that criteria for a single family residence, it doesn't matter what somebody else thinks or wants to believe or wants to try to get you to believe. Okay, the facts are the facts, and I think that's when we get off kilter sometimes when we're looking at things and we're trying to think about what other people may or may not do with their properties. So I had you watch that clip. It leads me into some other items that I'm going to be discussing in future episodes. I'm going to try to really tie in what the planning department does, what the planning board does, and what the zoning board does. And we got a lot of good clips, and we're going to have some good guests coming forward in the coming weeks to discuss these things. But it's that issue. I wanted to give you some insight because it is it's that lot now has to be resurveyed, which is going to cost the person $6,000 to $10,000. Add that additional cost on to the construction process, and it's difficult to balance it with when people come here to Wolfeboro and they want to build or develop, and they leave in some situations, or they're not guided through the process in a way that really benefits them as developers, and it doesn't really benefit the people of Wolfeboro, because we're lining up against people that are coming here to invest money in our town and by and large make it a better place for everyone. So enough on that issue. A lot of meetings this week. There's it's Wolfeboro and it's a meeting week, so we got a lot of meetings. I wanted to bring you up to speed tonight at 7 p.m. The Zoning Board of Adjustment is meeting at the Great Hall to discuss 3 cases. First case is Irving Oil. It's the Irving gas station in downtown Wolfeboro is meeting for a variance on the zoning board to allow a interior illuminated sign in Wolfeboro here. So that's the first meeting, the first case that'll be heard tonight before the zoning board. The second 2 cases, okay, well, it's actually 1 case, but Goodyear and Hawkins real estate property, 121 Filter Bed Road, is coming before the zoning board as well. And they're going to be coming before the zoning board for a special exception and a variance for a permit for storage buildings on Filter Bed Road for boat storage. And this is for the construction of 5 storage units, buildings. So the special exception portion is the first case that'll be heard, and that's a special exception for the use of storage buildings in that zone. And then the variance, which will be the second case that'll be heard on that particular issue, is for the height restriction, which is 30 feet. So special exception for the use, variance for exceeding the height restriction here in Wolfeboro of 30 feet. So that's tonight, 7 p.m. at the Great Hall. Tuesday night, the planning board will be meeting, and they're going through their normal reorganization. There's no cases coming before this planning board this week, but they will have a regular meeting. That's at 7 p.m. at the Wolfeboro Town Hall. Wednesday night, Board of Selectmen, they will be going through reorganization. So the elections just happened in March, so they'll be picking their officers electing a new chair and vice chair. There is also an array of committees that have been posted on the town website for a few weeks, looking for people to join, and there'll be nominations and there'll be appointments to the various committees here in the town of Wolfeboro. So, getting to the main event, and I'm excited because it's nice to have guests. And so, here to introduce Gunnar Found. And Gunnar, it's, when I saw, the Wolfeboro copy ship closed about a year ago, and then, late last fall, maybe it was early winter, I see this Beyond the Box sign pop up at the, up on Center Street there, and it's like Beyond the Box, and then some other little signs popped up, and it kind of gave me like I was like, oh, this is gonna be like, this is like the new place for like copy ship and so much more. And then I went in and got to meet you and got to see more of what was going on there. So Gunnar Found, he came up with this concept Beyond the Box, and tell us how you came up with the name, and how else you want to start off with this?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and hear about all the issues going on in town and have me on the show. Beyond the Box was a concept that really started when the old Pack and Ship store closed down. And I don't want to take credit for the name because it was actually my business partner, Todd, who came up with it. But it was really a concept that was basing off of the original mail store. And we wanted to do away with a lot of the old things like greeting cards, just old mailers, that type of thing, and replace it with more of a tech-oriented retail base. And so as the name suggests, going beyond just the box, right? So I don't know if you wanted to segue into what we do.
So I mean, I think that, I think people in here in Wolfeboro, especially with, we're right on the cusp of like, from spring, but now we're going to get a foot of snow potentially, but we're going to move past that at some point and be in spring. So you kind of went through the whole winter season, but, give us an idea of, how you identified the need and kind of where you kind of, how you kind of, where you kind of considered adding services and stuff like that from the original, like the Wolfeboro copy ship and more, or whatever it was.
Sure. So Wolfeboro, even though it's a relatively small town, we are kind of a hub for this side of the lake and this part of the Lakes region. You look at the neighboring towns of Tuftonboro, New Durham, Ossipee, some of those other towns that maybe come to Wolfeboro to do a lot of their recreational things, like go to the lake, and I know some of these other towns have lakes, but the Parks and Rec group here, a lot of shopping to do downtown, all that sort of thing, and so you have a lot of towns that kind of rely on Wolfeboro for their basic needs. And so when the old Pack and Ship store went out, we saw a real hole in the marketplace for something like just a general, Pack and Ship store. And I think not only did we replace it, but I think we've essentially made it better in the sense that we actually can do post office, FedEx, and UPS services. It's really the only store, I want to say, within an hour and a half that can say that. We're independently owned, and we're really focused on providing a good customer service, as long as just being convenient to everyone that comes in. So we really never want to have people waiting in line, and we try to help almost everyone that we can, regardless of the problem. So we've had someone come in the other day that was just looking to send out an email or fax something, and even though that's not our specialty, we helped them through it. So and I think that's been reflective of the reviews we've gotten so far. And the winter has been great for being able to fine-tune all those services and really sharpen that knife so that when the summer comes around, we're able to deal with that high volume, Wolfeboro traffic that a lot of us are used to. So yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting on that point because, last week I saw a post. Someone in town had posted that a picture of a sign at the Wolfeboro post office saying, due to staffing and probably some, it's the spring, everyone's sick, so due to some staffing issues that the post office window was closed, for a day, and it's going to happen with with the way the world is with staffing and all that stuff. And then I saw a post like 10 minutes later, and you posted like, you can drop off your mail here. So people can, in that situation, they were able to come drop off their mail and that type of thing.
Yeah, so I guess let me rephrase what I said earlier. We want to be very customer service oriented, but a big part of it, anyone who's been in Wolfeboro for a while will know that we're a very strong community, and people love to help each other out here, regardless of what what you might believe in or who or whatever. Generally, we're a very strong community, and so we not only want to help our customers, but we also want to help out the other businesses in town. So we work very closely with the post office. We don't actually deliver the mail, but we take it in for them. We'll give people postage that might need it, and they'll come and pick it up from us. And so we kind of have we've developed this symbiotic relationship where one is helping the other and vice versa. And we want to be able to do that for our other businesses in town. Especially with things like blueprinting. We work with a lot of contractors and construction companies in town to do large format printing. So
yeah, the blueprints are. I mean, that's that was one of the big things that we had when I own a couple different businesses, and when the old store closed, there was that void with the where are you gonna get blueprints printed? I'm not gonna go out and buy a $3,000-$4,000 blueprint printer to print them out twice a month, but it's a valuable service here in town. So that's something you guys do. You have you're able to ship out FedEx or UPS stuff out of the store. You have mailboxes for rent, I believe, if someone wants to do that. And then you kind of have, and then you picked up, I know Birch and Vine was doing, Birch and Vine was doing dry cleaning for a little while, but you guys are doing dry cleaning now. So if you want to tell us a little bit about that service in case people are watching and they want to know, like, how often is it picked up? When do I get it back again? Just a generic, because that's, when the summer comes, I bet the dry cleaning business will explode. So.
Yeah, totally. And like I said earlier, that's one of those things we've been trying to perfect so that when that high volume season comes around, we're ready. So the dry cleaning is offered by Sanitary Cleaners over in Laconia, and they will pick up and drop off on Wednesdays and Fridays, generally before we open. So if you want to get it in, you would have to get it in the previous day in order for it to get picked up. They do a very good job with most of what we all use dry cleaning for. If you throw up on your shirt, I don't know if they'll be able to get that out, but everyone's been very satisfied with their service and the speed. So we're generally seeing about a week turnaround, which is pretty fast, and they also do rush orders. So
awesome, yeah, because I think that as like I said, as the summer months approach, and we have a lot of working professionals here in town that still rely upon that service, and I don't even know where else you would go if maybe to Laconia or to Alton or something if that service wasn't available. So I think it's really important. So someone has a package. Just to give people more details, someone has a package. Okay, they have an item, let's just say, and the item is unboxed. They bring it to you. You'll help them box it up and do all that stuff and get it shipped out. Is that some of the service you offer? Is that how it works with the beyond the box thing?
Yeah, so we're really from any level of preparedness, we're able to help you. So almost every day, I'd say someone comes in with just an unwrapped item, and they're like, "Can you pack this?" And we'll either do it right in front of them, or this is where the convenience part comes in. They'll leave it with us, and we'll wrap it up. They'll come back maybe an hour or two later, pay for it, and we'll get it out for them. So again, just trying to save people time in their day and at a pretty fair price, I would say, and again with that customer service oriented feel, right? I also wanted to just mention that we do a lot with internet as well. I actually did internet for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone's ever looking to maybe take a step back from cable or just completely go wireless altogether, we do offer Starlink installs and just general expertise. So I think you had a few questions about it when.
Yeah,
when
I
you
mean,
were
it was
first
you know, you not only
interested.
did you do that, but I mean, you set up that whole mesh network that basically, my property has 3 different buildings, and of course, the kids, my stepkids, my mother, the business, and like everyone's on the internet all the time, streaming video, TV, and so you set up that neat little mesh network of nests, 3 of those, and it kind of like made like this spider web of my property almost that now anywhere I go, like I'm getting really good service, and you could do that with any provider, but I mean it just, it was that, yeah, I probably could have read about it for hours and hours and hours and tripped my way through and figured it out. But you came over and knocked it out, it's just nice to have that level of expertise, that level of knowledge right here in Wolfeboro and right at Beyond the Box. So it was really cool. Do you have anything else you want to add to the viewers out there?
Yeah, and to what you said, I'm appreciative that you've supported us, and to all of our other customers. I guess I would just like to say again, one last time, we really, really pride ourselves on our attention to our customers and their satisfaction. I think a lot of the frustration in just general our day-to-day lives can be seen in communication and or lack thereof. Whether you're trying to get a hold of a business for returning something, or a lot of those phone lines are automated now, so you can always count on when you walk through that door, number one, you're going to get treated with a smile, and we're going to try as hard as we can to help you get rid of whatever it is you're trying to get rid of, whether it's that box that's been in your car for a week or two, that you've been trying to return, or you're trying to send a really delicate, maybe even priceless item to a family member across the country. So yeah,
That's really cool. I mean, I think that's why I think that's why I really wanted to have you on here, because it was such a cool idea. It's simple, but yet it offers so much value, and I every time I see it, not that I have anything against real estate or real estate offices or banks in Wolfeboro, but every time I see a new real estate company or bank popping up, I'm like, there's so many other things that this town offers, and this is such a valuable part of it, and I think it's gonna really take off. So I wish you the best of success with Beyond the Box, and that was a lot of fun. So Gunner, there's Beyond the Box, and there's Gunner Found. You do a lot of different stuff on your own, and so tell us a little bit about yourself. You grew up here in Wolfeboro, and tell us about what else you do.
yeah. It's funny. I never really anticipated, I guess, sticking around as long as I have, but I'm really, really happy that I did. Been here for 25 years, going on 26 soon. Grew up in downtown Wolfeboro. My parents have both worked at Brewster. Just really involved with the community growing up, and it's been really fun to start 2 businesses in town. Beyond the Box being the retail, and Cinetrek Media, which is my media company, being the more mobile of the two. But yeah, I guess it was more of a hobby, the way that Cinetrek Media started. I got into drones kind of when I graduated college, and I graduated in 2020, so most of us all remember the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I graduated online, had an online graduation, and then was kind of like, what do I do? Because I had my summer job that I just kept
Sure.
doing because I was home, and I didn't really hear from a lot of companies that I was trying to get work with within my major at the time, just from the nature of the whole situation, and everybody kind of shutting down. So I bought a drone and really got started with videography and photography, and it came fairly natural to me, and just progressed, I would say, rather quickly, and got into real estate photography with the drone, and found out, hey, this is something I can make money with. So it just kept going, and it's one of those things where you stay in the game long enough, things start to work for
Mhm.
you. I think anybody who's built a a good business, a successful business, knows that it's not about necessarily how well you do right off the bat. It's about how long you're in the game, how long you're out there battling. And so, just by nature of being around for 4 or 5 years at this point, I've really seen some success, and I'm very thankful that this community has supported me as much as they have. And I'm really appreciative to be able to serve the community here where I grew up.
Yeah, we're gonna go right now. You're gonna see some incredible drone footage, and then we'll be right back. That's the Pop Whalen Ice and Arts Arena that was recently completed. An amazing project, an amazing asset to the town of Wolfeboro. I have a drone. I can fly a drone. I would never fly the drone inside the Pop Whalen Ice and Arts Arena. You killed it with that. I mean, that was really cool. I watched that. I think it was posted online, and I saw that. I was like, one, great for you as a advertising thing, but also great for the town. I mean, what great shots that the town could use to showcase that amazing facility that everybody in Wolfeboro can enjoy. So that was really cool, and those are the kind of services you offer. You can do real estate shots. You can do all kinds of different drone footage. You have a couple different drones. I think you shot some for a company that was part of Wolfeboro Boat Company of some boats on Christmas. We were out on the lake. It was really cool. You were flying one drone with some heads-up goggles, I believe, or something like that. The other one is a Mavic 3 or something. So just really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that last clip you saw there, that was actually FPV drone, which is first-person view with the virtual reality goggles. That's one of my newer additions. It's a lot of fun to do. It's very immersive. As you saw, and just a lot of fun in general to set up and be in the moment for those types of things. So, yeah.
Well, Gunnar, thank you. And thank you to everyone out there in Wolfeboro Community TV and Tim and Jake and everyone here. We couldn't do it without them, and we really enjoy having people watch this. And, we'll be back next week. Remember, when you're out there, random acts of kindness. Be kind to each other, and we'll see you next week on the Wolfeboro Exchange. Thank you.